Now I'm gonna do my whole introduction thing, the patented Delvin Cox experience introduction. You ready for it?
I'm ready for it. I can't wait to see it.
Okay. Welcome to the Delvin Cox Experience, the podcast in which each week I am on a one-man mission to unite our culture through the host diversity. See, I'm messing up now. I'm messing up. I got under pressure to start messing everything up. I am your host, Delvin Cox, and with me today is a special guest. Let them know who you are.
What's up, loves? It's your girl, Zaida Lisa, and I am the host of the podcast, Mama's Cocktail Hour.
Welcome to the podcast, Zaida. See, I almost messed that up. Didn't want to mess up your name. That'd be bad.
No, it's fine. You can call me Zaida, Z, whatever works.
Perfect. As always, we like to start the podcast off with the 5 for 5. 5 questions, 5 answers to get the ball rolling. Zaida, are you ready?
Woo! I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Question number 1. What is the best album or song you listened to in the past year? Does not have to be new.
Okay, so I'm gonna probably get a little bit of old jokes here. All my girls are gonna talk about how I'm so old, but I love Lauryn Hill. So I'm a big Lauryn Hill fan. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Great
and
album.
I don't know if you know, but it just went diamond.
That's dope. I'm shocked that it just went diamond.
I'm a big fan. Yeah, it actually did. I was actually going to put it on my podcast too to talk about it because I'm a big, huge fan. So yes, I would say I still listen to Lauryn Hill currently.
I would have thought that album went diamond years ago. It's that great of an
Right?
album. I hear about that album so much. I would have thought it was like, oh, that's diamond already.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's so crazy because she's still such a vibe like right now, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Her music is timeless.
I agree. I wish she put out more music. That's the only thing about it. I wish she just
I agree.
Put out more music, man. It's just, I love Lauryn Hill. She's awesome.
Yeah, right. Definitely. So for me, it's definitely my girl, Lauryn Hill.
All right. Question number 2. Does everyone in New York wear Timbs?
Yo, I'm going to have to go with that's a hard true. But they got to be certain levels of Timbs, okay? Like, put some respect on our name. It got to be certain levels. Like, it got to be the yellow crispy ones. Like, okay. It can't be like now the hood dudes are wearing the black ones, but it got to be the crispy ones. They can't be dirty. They can't be looking crazy. They got to be fresh. That's first and foremost.
Okay. So that's a factor. That's guaranteed true.
That's a guaranteed true.
All right. Question number 3.
Okay.
What was the dumbest thing you ever done as a kid?
Oh, shit. Wow. If I could go down the line.
All right, don't say that to get us in trouble.
No, definitely not. Okay, I would say that I was a super town boy. So I played basketball in high school. I played basketball in college. So I was a super town boy. And I remember jumping over this fence. And the fence didn't look sturdy. but that's another issue. But I ended up climbing the fence and I cut my back all the way up and I had to get stitches. So I would say the dumbest thing I ever do was try to like climb a dusty, dirty fence.
Yeah,
as a kid.
That could be a problem.
No, definitely.
They have things called tetanus shots for a reason.
Yo, I probably needed one of those.
All right. Question number 4. Is Usher going to prison for them fake ass bills he was throwing at strippers?
Yo, that is such. Okay, hold on. We have to talk about that. Can you be mad that he's throwing fake money? Why? I don't know. I don't see the problem.
I'm not mad at it because I ain't getting the fake money, but I'm quite certain. I don't know why you should be saying it. I'm quite certain if you're giving strippers $100 bills with your face on it that's not real, I'm almost certain that's a crime.
Yo, definitely a crime, but I think it's
I don't know
all the logistics of this. Did he get that shit printed up? I'm sorry, I just cursed. Oh my God. Yo, what is going on with Usher? He used to be the man back in the day.
Out of all the R&B, well, he's one. I won't say all of them. I just thought Chris Brown exists in this world. So Usher be having some of the wildest stories come out about him. Like this story, he had a story about him getting what, syphilis? They said. Yes.
I do. And then it was the issue with his baby mother. Like he had an issue with his baby mother. I don't know what he was doing. I think that's where he was having sex with multiple people and allegedly.
Yes.
And right? And
yes.
And they contracted something.
Yes. And then that big girl came out and said that she's pregnant from him.
Yes. I'm telling you, you know why? Let me tell you why. Because back in the day, all them R&B dudes was getting all types of buns.
Yeah.
And because he's still in that suave mood, he's still getting all types of buns.
I don't blame him. I'm not mad at it. Because I think, like, damn, if I was like El DeBarge in like the 80s, I would have been the man.
Right? That's what I mean. They was all smooth. You couldn't tell me an R&B dude from back in the day that wasn't smooth. Everybody was.
That's very true, because R&B dudes now are kind of just like street dudes who just sing now instead of shoot.
Yep, preach. So true. Different element.
Definitely. All right, question number 5.
Okay.
Zombie apocalypse happens Walking Dead style.
Woo! I'm a big fan.
So this is the perfect question for you. We're in the beginning stages of it. You got to take 5 things to go out in the world and survive. Pets and family don't count. They automatically go with you unless you don't want them to. Then they can go ahead and die for all I care. What are the 5 things you're taking? Anything you want, by the way.
Okay. So this is such a hard question. Okay. So I'm definitely taking that water converter thing that they have now. It's called the straw that you can convert salt water to regular water. So I'm taking that. That's one.
A good idea. I don't believe that thing works at all, but it's a good idea.
Yo, I will be the one to find out too. So, all right. So definitely that. 2. What else would I bring? My cell phone.
That's gonna last all of an hour, but that's okay. That's fine.
Yo, I have so many things. Okay, so my cell phone. Let me think. What else? Okay, so it's called the Life Straw. Let's just put that out there.
Yes. I put the Life Straw in the same category I put the shake weight in. In your head, you think the shake weight works. It ain't doing shit. It's not doing absolutely anything.
Yo, I don't know about you, but I saw a lot of good things from that Life Straw. So I think we got to put it to the test. Okay, so I got cell phone. Okay, let me think what else.
Life Straw, cell phone.
Okay. Can I do med bag or no? It got to be specific items.
Of course you can do what you want to do. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do a med bag.
Okay.
And This is so hard because I don't think there's no preparation for the zombie apocalypse. You're going to be looking crazy the whole time.
You have to be ready. We almost had it last year. What else going on?
A gun.
Okay, a gun. That's a good one.
Oh, okay. So I'm at 4, right?
You had 4.
And I'm definitely doing Daryl's bow and arrow. The one
crossbow.
with the crossbow. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's my 5.
I like that. I got one more question for you. Because I saw this today. And I said, she's from New York. She wouldn't know about this. What's up with y'all robot police dogs out there?
Oh, I saw that today.
Why are y'all trying to be like Black Mirror? Like,
I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why New York people do the things we do. But I did see that today. Very interesting. I don't know. Maybe they trying to... who knows with the NYPD? Who knows?
I'm telling you where I'm not going. New York. Y'all can have that raggedy dog.
Yo, that shit was all types of messed up. It looked, you're right, it looked raggedy. Raggedy is the word.
Yes, facts. All right, so tell everybody a little bit about yourself for those who don't know.
Okay. So my name is Zaida Lisa, and I have a podcast called Mama's Cocktail Hour. I am the host and the founder of Mama's Cocktail Hour. And I essentially started it with my best friend as a venture to kind of just be yourself, be who you are as a freaking 30-somewhat-year-old woman who starts to kind of lose their identity. Because being a mom can be difficult. It could be overwhelming. And then sometimes, being married, being a wife, all that stuff can overshadow like your passions, your dreams, whatever your purpose is. So during COVID, we had so much time to reflect.
Yes.
So during that time is when I had the most time to reflect on myself and just see what really, was my purpose. I was trying to move towards my purpose. And all of a sudden I came up with this idea, like what better than to be able to share stories and experiences and learn from a podcast platform. So I came up with the idea of Mama's Cocktail Hour. And from there, it just kind of took on a world of its own because it started originally with me and my best friend, Elise, and then it just kind of transformed. And now I kind of there's 4 girls on the podcast. One of them is my cousin, Nancy. And then one is one of my good friends, Jasmine. And then there's my other friend, Elise, and then myself. And we have a platform where we have different segments and we talk about different shit. We talk about sex, relationships, purpose. I mean, I could go and talk forever.
Penis size.
Today was the topic of penis size. We did a live and it came up about size. And someone was acting wild in the comments, making some things. So I was like, yo, I want to ask the question. Like, does size really matter? And I saw your comment.
Yes.
So that's who I am. I'm a women's podcast. And we are here to empower, enlighten, and we just living out our purpose and having fun with it.
I got to say this. One thing you immediately have right is marketing. This woman comes on the podcast with her shirt on and her sippy cup that has her logo on it. It's brilliant. That is creative, strategic marketing, and I salute you for that.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And you guys can get yourself some mama merch. My website, mamascocktailhour.com. So you can definitely get your boo or get your girl a little shirt or a wine tumbler.
And it's nice looking stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice looking stuff. So what got you in the podcast in the first place? What made you say, you know what? I want to do a podcast. Like, I know it seems like it's a cool thing to do now, but I started doing podcasts before they were cool. So
facts. I did hear about you a long time ago from my very good friend Erica. Shout out to Erica for getting me on this platform. She has always raved about you. So yes, you go back. You like the originals. You like the before Christ. Like, you know, when they say BC podcasters, that's you. You in there.
Old. That's
Okay, so let me see. Growing up, my favorite DJ in the world was Angie Martinez. You know, I'm from
Great
New York.
choice.
So, I still to this very day, I was able to meet her in person. She's someone that I love. She always was highly respected in the hip hop community, still a lady, still always classy and kept it real. And I was like, wow, I can resonate with that. I went to college for communications and I kind of wanted to go down that route and just got sidetracked. I had kids, got married. So here I am now saying, you know what? Angie Martinez was the one who inspired me to want to do this.
That's dope. I always appreciate Angie Martinez. This is how important Angie Martinez is to the culture of hip hop. I live in Miami.
Wow.
And I know who Angie Martinez is very well. There are certain people like coming up, not to give my whole age out. When I was coming up, I used to go to the flea markets and get the Funk Flex mixtapes, get the DJ Clue tapes and things like that.
Oh my God, Clue.
And I used to always find these. For some reason, this flea market had like Hot 97 tapes.
What?
That
That's
would just
so
play.
random.
That would just play like the whole. I don't know, it's not an episode. It's like the whole days.
Right, the whole, yeah.
With Angie Martinez and stuff like that on it. And I used to listen to it a lot. I'm like, damn. Because in Miami, we had DJs, but we didn't really have the DJ, like the people DJs you talked about until like DJ Khaled.
Got it. Okay.
So in the 90s, we didn't, we had people who played like hip hop music and stuff like that, but you didn't have that up front and center DJ that people were like, oh, this is who we go to for our music and stuff, to like Khaled. That Khaled was the one where like, okay, Khaled, come on, we finna start hearing this type of specific type of hip hop music. So I would always go get mixtapes and stuff for like Nas, Jay-Z and stuff like that, DMX, because that was the music I used to listen to. I used to listen to stuff like that, and it was really hard to find down here because it's the South.
You listen to a lot of New York music.
Yes, I'm a big New York hip hop head.
Got it.
So. I also listen to like a lot of Scarface and down south music, but my favorite rapper is Nas.
Yes.
Yes, my
Good
favorite
choice.
rapper is Nas. Like I had the Wu-Tang purple tape and everything.
My son's name is Nazir. We named him after Nas.
That's a great name. If I could
He's
have
a great
got away with
rapper.
it, if I could have got away without naming my son Nazir, I wouldn't have got away with that.
My husband's a big Nas fan, so there it goes.
Wise man. So, with that being said, I appreciate your love for Angie Martinez, because Angie Martinez was one of those first, I don't know if you want to call it DJ, well, radio personalities that not only had the looks, but the intelligence and the ability to commandeer an interview and demand respect from artists. Like, she has interviews with Tupac.
I know.
Tupac wanted to interview with her because of how great she was at interviewing people. And I think that's dope.
I agree.
Not everybody can do that, by the way.
No, that's what I mean. You got to be, that's because you know what? You have to be a presence amongst men, and especially amongst men who you never know how it's going to go on an interview.
Yeah.
You never know how it's going to go. It could go absolutely left, and you got to be able to handle that. And I think that she does a really good job at, like you said, owning the floor.
Yes. And I always appreciate that. Even though Angie Martinez is a beautiful woman, they never over-sexualized her. Like the hip-hop artists that she interviewed always showed complete respect to her in her craft. I think that's dope.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say that she's probably the only VJs that I know, or whatever you want to, radio personalities that they didn't over-sexualize. Well, they trying to do the same thing with Angela Yee as well,
but you know how that goes.
Yes, exactly.
It seems like, and you could speak on this a little bit, when it comes, it's a lot harder for a woman to get into that radio personality / podcast personality and be taken serious unless I talk about sex or something like that. So what is it like for you trying to break yourself into the podcasting game? And maybe it's a little different for you because you have a little more freedom with what you can do.
I agree. I mean, it's so true, and crazy that you brought up that comment, because we understand, especially coming up in the podcast community, you know, we still fresh, we still new, we've only been in it maybe 7-8 months, that the things that pop are things like sex.
Yes.
It's clickbait. So it's real easy to kind of fall into that realm. But that's why on Mamas, I think my show is so dope, is because we give you different aspects of different things, because we don't want you come in here. 4 people is a lot of people on a podcast, especially to get everybody's perspective. So what we ended up doing was breaking it up into segments. So for instance, my Jasmine has Tuesday Talks with Jazz. And that's where she talks about specific things like purpose, like mental health. So, and then I have my sports show, On and Off the Court with Zaida Lisa, where I talk sports, because I'm a big sports fan and I love the Knicks. Knicks fan all day.
So sorry to hear that. Sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. Just sorry for you.
Hold on. You gonna have to put some respect on our name. You want to, because we going to the playoffs this year. We might be coming in 8th, and we might have to play the number 1 seed, but it doesn't matter. The Knicks haven't been in the playoffs since Melo was there.
The Knicks haven't been in the playoffs since God knows how long.
No, we were in the playoffs when Melo was there. That's the last time.
How long ago was that?
Oh, 2012?
We done changed whole presidents in the time. Might have been 2 presidents. Might have been 2 whole presidents since the Knicks last time they've been in the playoffs.
Listen, it's coming to a theater near you. I'm telling you, we're doing big things this season. You're going to see. Watch. New York on the rise.
Yeah. One thing I love about New York, and I've always loved about New York, is one thing New York never lacks is confidence.
That's right.
They will tell you New York is the best, even if New York is not the best. They're going to tell you New York is the best and why New York is the best.
That's right. I can't argue with you there. That is correct. We could be losing. We could be the worst team and still be like, yo, what are you talking about? New York fans is loyal. That's what we are. True.
I know, because a lot of them come to Miami. A lot of New Yorkers live in Miami. So
it's so true.
So when you go to Heat games down here, it's like, oh God. They're gonna have, especially when the Knicks come to Miami to play against the Heat.
It's always crazy, right?
Yes. Because half of the fans are New York fans and half the fans are Miami fans.
And it's always rowdy in the court. It's always a rowdy game.
Yes. Very accurate. So you continue to tell more about this podcast. I think this is a dope idea for a podcast, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, so that was my vision, really. It was my vision to kind of give you what essentially is a network. So you're not just getting one perspective or 4 perspectives all the time. And like I said, it's a hard work to do 4 on a podcast and get everybody's perspective and hear them out. So we broke it down into segments. I have That's Dope with Zaida Lisa, where I talk everything that I believe is dope and interesting, whether it's women, men, entrepreneurs. And then we also have Serenity Now with Nancy G. That's my cousin. So she's bringing some of the meditation, the yoga. She's talking about these things. She's giving helpful tips. We also have At Home with Elise, where she just moved into her first house. So she's doing all this DIY stuff. So, just giving you different flavors, because I think it's interesting to see different dynamics, because when you're on a podcast, you're all talking about the same topic. Everybody's going to give their different, their different aspects. But it's interesting when you see where those aspects come or those perspectives come. Because, for instance, Jasmine, she talks a lot about mental health. She's a mental health warrior. She talks about some of the trials and tribulations that she goes through with that, trying to deal with that as a mom. And you already know the type of world we're in, where a lot of that stuff back in the day was looked like frowned upon. So, yes. It's just us finding our purpose and living in our truth, so to speak. Because I think that's important. Like I said, like as mothers, we go through ups and downs as women, where we lose ourselves, we find ourselves. We're not the same person that we was 10, 15 years ago. Now we've evolved. Things are more important. Things are less important. So I think it was a perfect time to start a podcast because it also helped build confidence. Do you think that? Do you think that this podcast helped you build confidence?
Yeah, definitely. I think on the best aspects of the podcast, in terms of myself, I can only speak for myself, obviously. It brings out the best side of you.
Yes.
In terms of me being open to talk to people and have conversations with people, and it helps you open up more. Like on my Patreon, I do a podcast with my friend from the UK. It's called the USA to UK podcast. Not to promote that or nothing like that, but his name is Ben. His name is Ben. And he said, when I first came with the idea of me and him doing it, it was just because he's a friend of mine and I want to talk to him about things in the UK that I know nothing about. And plus, we both love comic books and stuff like that. But Ben, while he was outgoing, he wasn't very vocal. So with me and him doing this podcast every month, he told me himself, and I'm quite sure I'm okay to share this, that it helped him open up to talk to people, to be more vocal at his job. And like when he has to give speeches at his job now, he kills it because he's so used to talking on a podcast and talking to me and talking to this audience. He just knows what to do and what to say. He's very confident now. And I think that's the dope thing about podcasting. If you get used to it and you can build that community of people that respect your podcast and your craft, it helps you in a lot of ways, not only physically in terms of making you feel better on the outside, but in the inside too. It gives you that confidence in yourself. And that's important. That's dope.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, it's breaking down barriers for all the women on my podcast. Because you would think, 30, 40-year-old women, like you would think at this point we had a level of confidence, but we not, because like I said, we find in ourselves again. It's different when you find yourself when you're younger. Now we have kids, we have a family. It's a different dynamic. Yeah. We have different responsibilities. So it's empowering. I love this platform. Yeah.
I think it's awesome because we're at a time where, like you said, usually when you hear 30, 40, you hear starting a family, people kind of think, okay, you're settling down, you're slowing down in life, things like that. But no, you're still young. You're still very young. And to go out there and do a podcast where you can express yourself and talk to people who are like-minded like you are and open up the world to you and your personality, and for you to learn about other people, I think that's dope. And I think that's one of the coolest things about podcasting, because there are millions and millions of people who have similar opinions and takes and ideas like you have. Podcasting opens that world up to them. They introduce the world to you, and you introduce the world to them. I think that's a dope thing that comes with podcasting. Now, I don't know how much your views on things like that, but the more your podcast grows, the more people listen to your podcast, you're going to start finding out people are going to get inspiration off of it.
That's dope.
Yeah, I think it's dope.
And I would be like, I think that's one of my purposes too, is if someone sees something in my podcast, whether it be mental health, whether it be what I experience, and they learn something from it or they get something out of it, that's my purpose right there.
Yeah, I think that's awesome when something that brings you joy brings joy to others.
Yes, I agree.
And one of the coolest things about podcasting, at least now at this point, is still completely independent.
Yes.
You don't have a boss to go to about your podcast. You could do what you want to do, and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. That freedom right there alone is worth the price of admission.
I agree. It's so liberating. It's so liberating to be able to talk about the things that you want to talk about and really address those issues, and not be gamed by just whatever the media puts out there and whatever they want us to kind of harp on. We create our own agenda.
Yeah. And you can create your own agenda, and you can tell your story and how you see things. And I think that's very important.
Absolutely. I agree.
So let me ask you this. You're doing the podcast thing, you're killing it. You got your own line of stuff, your merchandise stuff like that. You're already 10 steps ahead of me where I was at that point in time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What is it like doing a podcast during this pandemic where everybody's stuck inside? Especially in New York. Because I'm in Florida, and Florida don't care.
I know.
They're like, we're going to go outside. We're going to party. New York's like, no, we locking this stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have your places because, to be honest, I live in Jersey, so I'm in the suburbs. Originally from New York, grew up, raised in New York, but I live in Jersey now with my family. And actually, it's so funny because the person I started the podcast with is someone that I'm with frequently, because we work in the same field. So at that point, we were always together. So it just made kind of sense. Like there was no math involved. Like, we had that relationship where it's like, okay, we see each other every day. So I was able, like I said, New York put aside was in total shutdown. But where I was in Jersey, I lived by the beach. I had so much ample time to kind of just work because everything else was shut down. So now my friend had all this available time to be like, hey, let's get to work. So created my LLC in October and started the podcast in September. And we've been going hard ever since.
See, you're already on the ball. You got your LLC. You got everything in line. See, you messing with me for everything. I got to give you no pointers on the podcast. You doing your thing.
No, but I definitely want some pointers on the podcast. What do you think is one of the hardest things that you've had to experience with the podcast?
You will learn this, and you probably have already learned this. One of the most important things, if not the most important thing you need on your podcast, and it's so much easier now, is sound quality.
Yes.
Because if you don't have good sounding, at least decent sounding podcasts, people are going to turn away immediately. And once they turn away, it's hard to get them back. So your sound quality is super important. Super important to have good sound quality. And be true to yourself and what you want to talk about what you want to talk about. Don't get mad if people don't agree with you because they're not going to always agree with you.
Right.
So be fine with it. You're going to get people who like your podcast. You're going to get people who don't like your podcast. Some people just not going to get it.
Right.
And that's okay.
I agree. I think I deal with that, but it's also hard. And what we're dealing with, and I'm not sure if you deal with this too, is people who don't understand your purpose. People don't understand what you're doing. People want to knock it.
Oh yeah, all the time for my family.
Yes.
I didn't. When I first started podcasting, nobody in my family got it, nor cared until they saw other people talking about the podcast.
Yes.
Until I remember this clearly, and this is not to brag on myself. My podcast at one point reached like the top 50 on iTunes charts, something like that. And people were listening to it. And it got out to my family members and like, oh, your podcast doing these type of numbers and stuff like that. Yes, it's pretty cool and stuff. But before that, nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to find out about it. Nobody wanted to check it out. But now that they see it's on the charts, it matters. And, people eventually will come along and see the vision. But whether they do or don't, it doesn't matter.
Right.
As long as you keep on track what you want to do and do it how you want to do it, you'll be good. And also, don't be ashamed if you get 5 listeners or 500 listeners, because all that stuff comes in time. If you keep doing what you're doing, keep focusing, keep trying to build your audience, and doing what you're doing right here, this is the best way you can get a bigger audience for your podcast and more listeners and get more people interacting with you. Talk to other podcasters. Communicate with them. Learn from other podcasters. Get on their shows if you can, because the more you commingle and not think of it as a competition with other podcasts, because in the day, we all broke. like podcasters, very few podcasters make money off a podcast. So there's no reason to be like, oh, I hate this podcast because this, and that. No, you're broke. How you gonna beef when you're broke? Yeah.
Damn, yo, you can't give us no credit. We all broke.
Yeah, can't be beefing when you're broke.
It's so true. But I learned that. I learned the art of like networking and not just kind of keeping it in house, because in the beginning you're real focused on this right here, and you like, all right, I'll get to that later. But you understand that there's so much power in cross promotion. There's so much power in like just bringing someone on your platform because maybe someone like what they're hearing. So it's just dope. And yes, I realized that early on. So I'm ready to do any podcast, not do any podcast, but
yes, clarify that, please.
Let me clarify that. I'm willing to get on any podcast because I just love hearing myself talk. I run my mouth all day. It's a Hispanic thing.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that with Spanish people.
Yep, we do. We like to talk.
My daughter and my son are Spanish, so
they must be running their mouth all day to you.
Yes, they do.
But you were talking too. So you mingle right in.
Well, I talk because I'm on a podcast now. It's different. I got to be a talker on a podcast. I'm the host. I got to be kind of flamboyant and energetic.
I love it. Yeah.
When I'm off the podcast, I'm playing NBA 2K.
And that's it? In silence? No talking there?
In silence. And so let me ask you this. What are your aspirations for your podcast?
Wow. So some of my aspirations is, and I'm just gonna put it out there because there's so much power in just putting something out in the atmosphere. Is I want this to be a network. I see Mama's Cocktail Hour as a network. Like, how OWN got a network? It's gonna be Mama's Cocktail Hour network one day. I'm telling you.
Like the ring of that. Like the sound of that.
And it's just going to be a variation of shows and perspectives and just realness and no filter. And that's why I envision for my podcast in the future.
I like that. Who is your dream guest to have on your podcast?
Oh my God. My dream guest would be, I'm a basketball head, so I'm gonna have to go with a basketball player.
Okay.
So I would definitely say I would love to have. Well, I mean, I'm a hip hop head too, but I would definitely love to have like a Kevin Durant on my podcast, hearing his perspective. I'm a big Kevin Durant fan too. Can I give you another one though?
You give me whoever you want to give me.
Will Smith.
That's a great choice.
I love him. He is so inspiring. Like when I hear I'm not gonna lie, days when I have my days where I'm like, that didn't work. I got 5 views. I got 10 views. I listen to some Will Smith and instantly I'm like, okay, battery in my back, ready to go.
That's dope. That's dope. Now I'm about to tell you something. So you picked Kevin Durant, but did not say not a single Knick player. No Patrick Ewing, no John Starks.
Wait, hold on.
No Carmelo.
Crap about that. I don't want to see Carmelo. Definitely not. Yes, because so I love the Knicks, but I do have a love-hate relationship with the Knicks, and I love Kevin Durant as an all-around player. But let me say, if it was a Knick, I would love to meet my man John Starks. Definitely, hands down.
John Starks
and maybe Latrell Sprewell too, because I love him too. So both of them.
The way you said that, your husband would not want you to be Latrell Sprewell. He is putting a veto on that interview ASAP. Like, nope.
X him out, right? Oh my God, you too funny. This is definitely an hour for me because I'm having me a little drink too. So I had to come on.
Show the cup. Let them know.
You guys can get this wine tumbler mamascocktailhour.com, guys.
See, it's way smarter than me. I don't have my mug in front of me. I just got a bottle of random generic water that doesn't even show up on camera. See?
That's it. I couldn't see it.
It's nice, purified water in a plastic cheap bottle. That's the name of it. Nice.
Listen, I ain't hating. If it works for you, it works for me.
No, you are a brilliant genius in marketing, and I am a person who does podcasts.
You too much. You definitely got to come on my podcast one day. Please let me know that you would come. We would love to have you.
I'm not a mama. Y'all have people who are not mamas. I'm a papa.
Let me explain that.
Okay.
Everybody seems to think that Mama's Cocktail Hour is strictly for moms. I've had women even be like, "Well, I don't want to buy the merch because I'm not a mom," and I'm like, "Well, this has nothing to do with a mother. This is just."
I'm buying that mug. I'm buying a cup.
Woo! Come and get the cup.
Fire.
Yeah, it's just all about, like I said, it's so mama is a word of endearment. So for us, it's like, you know how girls call each other sis.
Yes.
We call each other mama, and we know we build in that relationship. We trying to elevate. We trying to get women on our platform. So it's different. But we also have papas too.
Okay.
And we have men on our platform too. We actually interviewing a man coming up soon. So you need to come on. You a pop.
Yes. Okay. And that man is Gary Payton that she's interviewing. I would love to come on though. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
This has been a blast.
It has been. Listen, I am just floored. Like, this is amazing. Your platform. Thank you for having me on here today.
You're welcome.
You are super dope. I really appreciate the opportunity.
This has been a blast. Let them know where to find you and your podcast at. And also, do you have a Twitter? We
do have a Twitter. And I have been upping my Twitter game because I have been told that my Twitter game sucks.
Yes. So up your Twitter game. I don't even have your Twitter. You need to up your Twitter game.
I'm upping my Twitter game, but right now we are really we're working on our Instagram. So our Instagram is working. So now I'm getting on the Twitter and the Facebook, and it's all our Twitter, Our Mama, and that's HOURMAMA. And our Instagram is Mama's Cocktail Hour. And we have our audio. We're on YouTube at Mama's Cocktail Hour. If you type that in, you'll get it. And then we're also available on all audio podcasts, Mama's Cocktail Hour.
So you're on iTunes,
yes.
Spotify, Stitcher.
Yeah, I'm also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Yes.
So if you want to hear Mama's Cocktail Hour, and you should, because you've just heard her, and she was amazing.
Thank you.
Go check out her podcast and support her. Support indie podcast. Do your thing, people.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on here today.
You're welcome. And as always, Delvin Cox Experience, we are out. Peace.
Bye.